one other thing I wanted to touch on with this hunt, and it kind of relates to other hunts, but hunting with a muzzleloader. So this was something, back when you worked for a company that was in that space, and you were talking to me about it. I was like, I've never really done much muzzleloader hunting other than flintlock that we've had in Pennsylvania, but now all of a sudden I'm seeing, Pennsylvania alone, we have a bear season in October that's muzzleloader now. There's, you go to New York has muzzleloader season. I'm just talking about states around me, Ohio, and this is where last year's the first time that I went out with an inline muzzleloader and hunted, in January. They had a season, I think it was a 3-day season that you could hunt with a muzzleloader. And it's like, it opened up all these different opportunities by, picking up a different weapon. I've always either used a bow or a rifle, and that was kind of the main two weapons. And the more I've learned about all these different states and different things that you can use, muzzleloaders are a pretty useful tool.
Oh, incredibly. A lot of people will start bow hunting to extend their season. Natural. It's very like archery season, and then it's normal. And then like muzzleloaders, the season for them really varies highly across the country.
Yeah.
But and they have a stigma about they're not accurate and 50-yard accuracy, and that's a bunch of hooey. So modern muzzleloaders of various flavors can easily shoot hundreds of yards with the right setup. And so I started muzzleloader hunting in Vermont, largely again just to extend the seasons. And it was a couple pellets and sabo, and you get about 2 shots before you can't even get them back you can't even put them back down the barrel, and they're just all ugly and messy. But now with modern powders like Blackhorn 209 that burn clean, like I clean my muzzleloader at the end of the season, and that's it. And I go to the range and shoot, and I'll shoot. We would do range media days, and we shoot hundreds of rounds without no swabbing whatsoever.
Huh.
So Blackhorn 209 is just a super clean powder. There's modern, Parabel, the Hornady, like there's numerous making great projectiles that are really, really accurate. So my first muzzleloader was the Thompson Center Pro Hunter. And that was like, you could change the barrel rifle to muzzleloader to turkey gun. So I just kind of used the same single shot throughout the season if I was gun hunting. And then with CVA, I favor just simple break actions, but now there's modern muzzleloaders that, a bolt, actuates the primer. You still load from the muzzle. Those are 700-yard, guns. And not that I'd ever encourage anybody muzzleloading in that distance, but like the technology is there, and it's fun to shoot steel there and hear the ring and get the feedback. But it's, it really opens up opportunities for extending seasons, for getting tags, because a lot of places it's just easier to draw because the competition for those tags is less, especially in some Western states. Like you can draw, sometimes you can get archery tags easier than the general hunt, but like, if you play the Western tag game, there can be advantages in what you're willing to use as your weapon. And frankly, modern muzzleloaders, they're not that much different anymore than like I hunt with the 45-70 a lot, and even there's some places that have legalized, straight wall, and you can use that during muzzleloader season. But the accuracy is there, and the consistency is there, and you don't have to worry about, again, rain going on the barrel. That video is a good example. It's pouring rain, and it wasn't no problem shooting it, and they shoot flat, and so I highly encourage anybody, if you haven't picked up a muzzleloader or looked at what's out there now, and I've heard a lot of commentary of, if somebody's a crossbow hunter, well, my crossbow is just as accurate, I'll just keep hunting with that. And fine, I'm not going to judge somebody for that kind of statement. But it doesn't help you with tags. It doesn't help you with season extensions. It doesn't do what you want as far as what you think is an accurate gun or an accurate weapon to 50 to 100 yards. But it's not going to extend your season. I don't care, until you pick up a muzzleloader. And there's some, there's states that but I don't allow rifles like you.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to have a muzzleloader or a shotgun, you can hunt there. So if you are a traveling hunter or looking for Western tags or want to extend your seasons, I highly suggest getting familiar with the muzzle. And a lot of those old stigmas of, again, they're dirty, they're hard to clean, they're unreliable, they're not accurate. None of those apply with modern muzzle loaders from
Yeah.
various.
Now the one that I have, I don't even know what the brand is of it. It's old and it's cheap and and it's even with that, shooting 100 yards was very repeatable. And it was just like, when I say old, it's not that old. It's just not a very good, it's not a CVA or anything like that. But I think that there's so much more opportunity, even like out west, like you were saying, Colorado, for example, you can get a muzzleloader elk tag to hunt during the rut and pretty easily in a lot of places and a lot of units. And hunt elk during the rut with a muzzleloader. And I believe don't quote me on it, but some regulations. I don't think you can use a scope or whatever, but
It's man, there's definitely some regs you got to navigate.
Yeah.
There's places where you have to have an exposed primer. You can only shoot lead projectiles, or no optic, no magnification. Like a red dot's okay, but you can't have magnification, or it has to be open sight. So there's some of that you certainly have to navigate.
But then there's like you're talking about Tennessee there, like you're hunting whitetails in the rut with a gun, essentially. Like that's awesome that you're able to do that. And I don't know. That's one thing that I want to work on. It probably won't be as much this year. I might dabble with a little bit more, but I really need to, when I go into something, I need to put the time forth to it and, practice a lot throughout the summer and just kind of get dialed with something and start planning some hunts that are around muzzleloader season, because I think it'd be cool. And I don't know how the Northeast is. Is there special seasons up there as far as like in November and everything for muzzleloader?
There are. I'm trying to remember Vermont was like opposite a lot. It was like muzzleloader came in last. It was like a late season thing, and some other states are like that. Whereas like Tennessee, it comes in, it goes archery, muzzleloader, rifle.
Okay. And
so
I think New York is it's archery, rifle, muzzleloader. If I'm not mistaken.
Seems like a lot of New England states muzzleloaders at the end.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, it just varies. You just got to look, but all of that still falls into my head of how can I hunt longer and more.
Yeah.
And get the right weapon that suits it. But again, I can't speak highly enough about a modern powder like Blackhorn 209 for what it does to just get rid of all the, frankly, the hassles of muzzleloader hunting, which is cleaning and not you got to shoot a couple shots and you got to swab and all of that. Frankly, just goes away with Blackhorn. And I'm not sponsored by Blackhorn. I know nothing. I'm not. I never worked for them. I just love it. It just. And I was even I was a pellet guy, right? The 777. All right, I get it. I can get it. 2 pellets down the barrel, and I'm gonna. I don't want to measure stuff. I don't want to have to deal with that. 2 pellets and a Saba, and then it wasn't until I really had experience shooting it that I was like, oh, I'm never going back. And now you can make I carry 3 pre-measured vials, and it's not like it's even you have to really get super. I still go off the line. I tap it on the as long as you shoot consistently. I'm not overly worried about measuring grains. Certainly, it's not hard to measure grains of powder, but I'm still simple enough. I don't have to worry about it. But I just I'll measure out, and I put in those vials, and I'll keep the projectile in there with it. So it's just pour it down,